something that hasn't even been reported from the news, but has been being reported from the workers themselves. United Healthcare. Most of you actually only know United Healthcare from player number 2, Luigi. That's where most of you know player number 2 from, Luigi. That's where most of y'all know where United Healthcare from. Is Luigi eliminating the CEO of a division of United Healthcare because he was mad at the system. All right. Here's a couple of people online speaking about what is going on with United Healthcare. And we're just going to use this as a talking point. And then I'm going to emphasize exactly what I want y'all to know.
I was not expecting any new layoffs news here the night of President's Day, but here we go. United Healthcare, these guys, they just announced voluntary layoffs up to 30,000 for people that accept the agreement between February 24th and sometime in the first week of March. Now, I don't have all the details, but people that are taking the voluntary severance package will receive 7 to 30 weeks of severance pay. And I assume also cash out their vacation. That's pretty typical. I don't know how it's being calculated, so don't at me on any of that. But it's an opportunity. If you work at United Healthcare and you don't want to work there anymore already, to go out on your own terms with a lot of new opportunity. Now, I have a lot of sympathy if you work there, if you like working there, if you want to keep working there. This is going to be a stressful time. Because after May 1st, when those people are done, then there's probably going to be mandatory layoffs if they didn't get enough people to take the voluntary package. But this is an opportunity, and that's why I say it's an opportunity, not telling you what to do, but you have a little bit of time, a couple weeks to figure out if it would be the right move. Now, I will say the last person that I placed in a franchise that took a voluntary separation, he had his business open a month after his last day at work, still with about 6 months of his severance package left. And his business has been open for 4 months. And today I found out he's just gone back to purchase more territory for his franchise. So things are going pretty well for him. If you want to stay working at United Healthcare, I hope that that's what happens. If you're looking for or considering a career change and you want to take a look at entrepreneurship, we've got a couple weeks. Let's talk early so you have some time to think about it.
And on top of that, here is someone else that's actually also a United Healthcare employee, obviously working from home, that is speaking on whether or not he is going to take a buyout and this whole situation.
I really don't ever get on here and post. I'm usually scrolling like the rest of us, but I can confirm I do work for a really big healthcare company who just offered me a severance package because they're doing mass layoffs. Of course, it's not worth what my unemployment will be in the long run, so I'm not a dummy and I'm not going to sign that. I do, however, have valuable information to whoever it may be valuable to, and I'm trying to get out with what I can get out with. Do you feel me?
Nah, we don't feel you, big dog. So we going to lay off the sass with the whole do you feel me situation. But I want to speak on this really quickly. The same way that I spoke on federal workers taking buyouts, over 75,000 people ultimately took buyouts. A lot of people are trying to sell their homes. Some people didn't take buyouts. They didn't get paid all the way up and through September, October, and they got laid off anyway. Some contractors got laid off, so on and so forth. With United Healthcare, what's basically being reported from employees internally, and I actually spoke with somebody that actually works at United Healthcare and said that it is true, and they confirmed it. And so what United Healthcare is trying to do is trim their workforce significantly, and they are not as profitable as they want to be. And so what they're doing is they're offering people voluntary buyouts. Okay? What that means for the people in the back is that they are giving you an opportunity to take a pay package that allows for you to basically get a severance. On top of that, what you'll do is you'll cash out whatever additional PTO or whatever it is that you got going on. You'll get your vacation payout. You'll get your severance package. You'll probably get Cobra. Cobra is your opportunity to continue to pay so that you can have health care, so on and so forth, okay? My theory, this is not something that I can speak on specifically, but it is the same thing that is playing out in the federal government. It plays out in private companies all the time. My theory is that if you decide that you do not want to take the buyout and the severance package, if they do not get enough people to take the buyout, then they will start to voluntarily laying people off. Then you get nothing. You then get unemployment. You probably get your vacation pay, and you get to file for unemployment. When you get the buyout, you get the severance package. You also can still file for unemployment. But in a sense, they're paying you to leave, so you have a couple different options. Your options are this. Pay attention. You can take the risk of keeping your job. And, I come from a union environment where it's basically last one in, first one laid off. Okay, so when we was in a steel mill, when we worked in the plants, when it was, times was tough, when things went bad, the highest seniority people were the ones that were evaluating whether or not they should take a buyout or they should take a relocation or early retirement, because they didn't know how high the layoffs were going to go. They didn't know how much fat was going to be trimmed and if they could basically save their jobs. If you had a whole lot of seniority, if you was right there at retirement age, you didn't want to take the buyout, you wanted to make sure that you could hit these streets, and you didn't want to sit home with your old lady all day so that she'll know exactly where you at because you had a whole nother family on the side, you had some thinking to do. Very few guys that I knew in the plant, that was the old school dudes, they didn't have a whole nother family on the side somewhere. Some of them, to be honest with you, shout out to y'all, some of them, to be honest with you, they couldn't retire because they had new babies. They was 60 and 70 years old. They had already passed the 30-year mark where they could have retired a long time ago, and they had to make sure that they took care of that young girl that they got pregnant. So every time that Ford, Chrysler, and GM would come through with a severance opportunity, every time Ford, Chrysler, and GM would come through with a severance opportunity, meaning that they offered them an early retirement package, you get your pension, you know what I'm saying, you get a buyout offer, they give you a Lincoln or a Cadillac and all of that, they wouldn't take it. And it wasn't that they didn't want to retire, it was that they couldn't retire or they was taking a chance at not getting laid off because they had to make sure that they gave the little girl over there to take her little house, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Old lady back at the crib, kids is out, but why you working so hard? Because I got to make sure that I take care of these little kids out here in these streets. I'm just being real with you. I got to break it down to you from the lens of a person that's going to be real with you. And that is the honest to God truth of what was happening. And so now United Healthcare workers are basically betting against each other. Well, what does that mean to bet against each other? It means that you have to bet that there's enough people that are willing to take the buyout that you can then save your job if you think that you still want to stay at the company. Enough people have to take the buyout so that they don't start doing mandatory layoffs to where they don't offer you a severance package. Now, who does this benefit? This benefits the people with a skill set that's beyond just call center employees. This benefits people with a skill set that don't need the job, have other things going on, is educated enough to be able to bet on themselves, are willing to go and find another position, already have things in the fire, already have a second job that they're working on, and then want that freedom and want that extra money to continue to use that money to leverage it to do something that's great for whatever it is that they got going on outside of United Healthcare. This is why it's important a lot of times to have a second form of employment, a second source of income, multiple streams of income. That way you can take advantage of it and you can spend more time building your businesses or going into whatever career field that you really wanted to get into, but you was looking for an opportunity to get out and now they're paying you to leave. For people that already have a lot going on and they got a lot of motion, a lot of movement, you ain't even tripping about it. It's not nothing to think about. I wanted to get out of here anyway. I'm tired of going into the office. Cool. I'm taking a severance package. I'm going to get the buyout. For the people that's not in that position, that didn't continue to use resources, benefits package, going to school on the company's dime, all of that stuff, right? Tuition reimbursement, benefits, working, doing second jobs, and this is your only source of income, you got to gamble. That's where the dice is going to be rolled. You gambling now. Because now you're betting on enough people taking a buyout to where you don't voluntarily get laid off and you get to keep your job. You got to do what you got to do to survive. And that's the dilemma. That's the dilemma. Everybody's situation is different. If you're a woman and you're married and your husband is the primary earner and you didn't need the money, you're probably more likely going to take the buyout and then figure out what you want to do with your life because you don't necessarily need the money. If you're a man or a woman that needs the job and you need that in order to support yourself and you don't have any other skill set because you're not working on yourself outside of that and doing all of those self-improvement things that you need in order to continue to run up a bag, that's the ones that is hardest hit. Those are the ones that's going to be complaining on TikTok. Those are the ones that's going to be trying to figure out what it is that they want to do. Those are the ones that's now going to try to scramble and take a coding class so that I can do a quick thing in order to try to get into it. Nope, it don't work like that. It don't work like that. You got to have irons in the fire all the time. Irons in the fire all the time. 100% of the time. Now, I don't know how many employees United Healthcare have. Let me see if I can find out. United Healthcare has, it looks like 440,000 employees worldwide. 142,000 clinical professionals, 50,000 customer-facing professionals, call center employees, 38,000 technical professionals, the equivalent of about 440,000 employees worldwide. So if they're looking for 30,000, that's less than 10%. You got a good chance of keeping your job if you don't want to take it. But then at the same time, it doesn't mean that they won't cut your department. So you're still taking a gamble either way. Ain't it crazy now we gambling with our employment? It's insane. But again, you got a choice to make. And every individual situation is different. Your family life, your circumstances, your lifestyle, how much you actually need that job in order to survive, how long can you go without pay, whether you have other people supporting you. Everybody got a decision to make. But yeah, man, that's what's happening with United Healthcare and their employees and their people. And so we're going to see what happens. I'll keep you guys updated on what's going on out in these streets, all right?